What do you think the Mets' play here should be with Springer? Do you go for it, try to blow the Jays away with your offer, or do you lowball and see if the Toronto uncertainty we've been talking about is enough for him to just take the offer?
I love the player that George Springer is and everything he can bring to the Mets on and off the field, be a leader as the Mets try to take that next step. But the more I keep thinking about it because of how this affects some of the future endeavors for the Mets, I wonder if the Springer acquisition is the best play for the Mets. I wonder if it's better to maybe go after Jackie Bradley Jr., who's a sure defender, really strengthens the up-the-middle defense for the Mets. It will cost a little bit less and will allow you to do some more things down the road, as we're going to get into. You obviously know you have to re-sign, you have to sign Francisco Lindor long-term now that you've acquired him, and Michael Conforto is part of it. We'll get into that. But Jackie Bradley Jr. helps strengthen something that a lot of people have talked to me about this offseason, that the Mets have improved at catcher, they've improved at shortstop, and really nailing down center field defensively would make a huge impact.
Okay, so maybe we take this conversation away from just center field. Maybe it's about Conforto versus Springer. If you're going to be able to sign one of those two guys long term, who do you think it should be?
Yeah, I'd rather sign Conforto than Springer because, I mean, number one, he's younger. I think there's more upside potential with Michael Conforto. I think there's more of his career and impact of his career in the front of him as compared to behind him. Listen, I don't think George Springer's over the hill, but, I mean, you have a lot of people that look at him and say maybe you can get 2 more years out of George Springer in center field, maybe 3. 3 might be pushing it before you have to move him over to a corner outfield spot. So that's concerning when you look at Springer. And he's also 4 years older than Michael Conforto. So if you're asking me one or the other, Doug, I mean, I'd rather have Conforto locked up to a long-term deal, and with all things being equal as compared to George Springer.
Yeah, I mean, look, Springer and Conforto, they're really not all that different as far as offensive players. And I think what people are so enamored with when you talk about George Springer and him coming to this market, it's not just the fact that he can play a good center field. He's not going to be Jackie Bradley out there in center field. He's not going to win you a Gold Glove in these next 5 years out there in center field in New York. So for me, I would rather have a guy who's 4 years younger, a guy who's going to hit just as well as George Springer. Now, we know Springer has the big moments in the playoffs. He's got he's got that reputation. Well, look, Conforto, when he's had a limited opportunity to do some damage in the playoffs, he's actually done pretty well. So you can't put that aside. And to me, you want to take care of, and Sandy said this in his opening press conference when he was announced as the president, you have to take care of the guys in-house. That sends a message through this clubhouse and through the entire organization that working hard and doing the right things and coming up through this organization will not be forgotten when the time comes for you to get your contract.